The other night, I had a dream. And this is what happened in that dream. I remember waking up and I looked at my surroundings and it was nothing but white. The ground beneath me was white and plain. The sky was a kind of a very bright grey white, very indistinctive in backgrounds. It was like I was in a desert. And there was no one else around for miles and miles, just me. After a bit of walking around, I managed to find someone. I find a random person. No one special, just a random guy. And I approached him and we started to chat to try and figure out what was going on. But then, I turned away for one reason or another. And when I looked back, he was gone. Nowhere to be seen. So this is a bit strange. I walked around a bit further searching for some other person to talk to, and there was another person who showed up in this white desert. But the same thing happened again. After chatting to that person for a bit, I turned away to figure out what was going on. And as soon as I turned back, he disappeared. Time and time again, this had happened over and over. Every time I look away from the person, looking back, he disappeared, or she disappeared. And that was the whole purpose of this trap. Over a bit of time, I worked out what was going on. What was happening was, when you saw somebody, you had to keep your focus on them. You had to keep looking at them. Because the moment you turned away and then looked back, they disappeared and moved somewhere else in this vast desert. That's how it got you. That's how it worked. It worked the other way around. If they were to look at you, then they would not disappear, no matter how much you as a person looked around, because they were focused upon you. The whole point was to keep your focus on each other so that neither of you disappeared. And the more people that looked towards you, the more likely you were to stay where you were. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. How does that work? Because if you're not looking at them, then you, and surely you disappear, but you don't disappear because they're looking at you, and well, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't work. Just go with it. It's only a dream. Along the way, I managed to find a few people that I'd recognized, a few people I'd seen as friends in my real life, friends from different social groups. And again, whenever I looked away, even looking behind me to turn back, they were gone. And by this point, I was getting more and more frustrated. How was I going to get out of this situation? How am I going to get out of this prison without walls? Suddenly, we saw in the sky a large aircraft of some description, I can't remember, flying across the sky. And it landed all the way over there. Kind of a crash landing, if you will. Yes, this is our chance. This is how we get out, I thought. If we can get a band of us people together and we all focus on each other so we don't disappear, we can head to that aircraft and fly away out of this desert. And so, we looked around, trying to find as many people as we can, friends and strangers. And we managed to find the last group of people to save within this valley. Wait, no, it's not a valley. It wasn't a valley because the valley goes down and but it was more like a cliff side on either end, but there's like a passing through. What's it called? I don't remember off the top of my head. There's two like cliff edges and there's a flat piece of ground, but is it a valley? Is it not a valley? I don't remember. Leave a comment below and enlighten me. So we found the last group of people, and there was a mass of us of about a dozen people, and there was about half a dozen people, my friends that I recognized. And this was it. This is the final push. We were all marching towards this aircraft, and we were keeping a focus on each other. No matter how much we looked around, we were all in the same place. We'd not disappeared. But the closer we got to the aircraft, the more I looked around, the more I looked back. My friends were disappearing one by one. Keep going, I would say. We were almost there. looking around, seeing what was going on. Because I'm sure there was a sense of danger for some reason, but I don't know at the top of my head. And every time I turned back, a friend would disappear. More of my friends disappearing. We're nearly there! Disappearing, one by one. We're so close! Disappear. And then, when we were mere meters away from the actual aircraft, I turned back to the group of people, and there was only a few strangers. All of my friends had disappeared. And I looked at the sky and I was like, no! Or something like that. And I started to remember, for some reason, the camera had started panning upwards. And I was hearing a narration. And I think it was that narrator from The Outer Limits. And I think he was giving a description of some sort of witty and fitting story or moral to go along with what was going on with the story of everyone disappearing. And yeah, actually, it was playing The Outer Limits music, I'm sure. Something like what's going on right now. And then I woke up. Weird.